What do you see behind me? Just check this out in the background. Obviously I'm in a clearing here, clear up in the Sierras. But what do you think that all this means? Have these timbers, these trees that are cut down, they're stripped. There's a lot of shrapnel that we could say is here. There's stumps, there's all kinds of trees that are stripped. Now, if you think that it was a lumber yard or lumber company came in here logging, that's a reflection of who you are, right? And the reason I say this is because our unconscious is making all kinds of decisions all the time, trying to make sense of this whole thing called perception and what we see. My name's Jeff Faldalen, and I'm an acceleration specialist. I'm international bestseller, but the reason I'm asking this is because there's actually the reason these trees are here is because they're dead. They had died, and they cut them down because of how dry the drought was. See, we had a massive drought through California a few years back. And because it was such a bad drought, what happened is the bugs got into these trees. Now, I wasn't part of the committee that made the decision as to why they're going to cut these trees down or where they're going to cut them down. The point is if we look at these trees like our neurology, okay, and looking at videos of neurology and things like that, we can see it's a network, right? We have 10 to the 10th power times 11 neurological connections inside of us, which is 1 0 with 110 zeros behind it. Massive number. So what branches, what trees are no longer serving your neurology? And if we look at them as beliefs, right? Let's look at them as beliefs. And people get really attached to their beliefs. Why? Because we become what we believe. And the thing is we never inventory how those beliefs serve us and if they're aligned to where we want to be and become the person that we want to become. Because we get attached to these beliefs, and then what we end up doing is that we not only get attached to them, but we invest in them more and we defend them more. And because we defend them more, they become stronger. And our perception becomes more contingent upon that. Our perception becomes subject to those beliefs because we've invested so much into them. But see, like me climbing up on this pile of trees, now I could climb up on that over there. As we climb up and we get more and more awareness, our vantage point starts changing. And when our vantage point starts changing, we're able to see more. We're able to see much more area than if we're down there below. So what beliefs do you need to let go of? And see, if we have shame within us, and shame is one of those things that's really part of our ego, it's part of our arrogance, it's part of darkness. And shame is really the lowest level of consciousness. But shame is a part. And if we can look at how shame serves us, then we can respect the fact that it's there for a reason. And some of my greatest breakthroughs that I've had in my life and people that I've met in my life has been because they're at rock bottom. Well, that's where shame dwells, right? Is when we're at rock bottom, we only have one way to go, and that's up. So it's not shame that is bad. And when we start looking at these beliefs as positive and negative instead of good and bad, it really gives us the ability to look at things more objectively. See, that's where a lot of people get caught up, is they look at things as good and bad. And they look at them subjectively rather than objectively, and it affects their ability to give themselves more mature feedback. See, because the more objective you can be in looking at your life, the more freedom you're going to experience. Because when we have an attachment to how we see things or a bias, that's going to affect how easy we let it go. See, friends, we hear this saying all the time, just let it go. Just let it go. Well, what does that mean, right? How do we let something go? Well, we have to, first of all, look at how is it serving us? How is this belief serving us? And the other part we got to look at is why do we hang on to these beliefs is because we created them. We're the person that created these beliefs. Therefore, it'd be like letting go of something that you've invested in. Say like a football game, Super Bowl time comes around, and as soon as you invest into that game, it changes that game, right? So the more aware we are of this, the more we understand, the more we invest in it, the stronger it holds, the more subject we become to it, right? And this is what happens with our beliefs. So if we can understand this, then if we can be objective and go, how is it serving us? And a lot of people with negative behavior will say, well, it doesn't serve me. Yeah, it does, or you wouldn't be doing it. We have to be able to look at it objectively and let go of shame, because shame is what tells us, no, you can't look at that because that means you're wrong. And if you're wrong, then you're wrong. And that's where shame dwells. See, we got to look at, the difference between guilt and shame. Guilt says, I did something wrong. Shame says, I am wrong. And if we have that narrative playing inside of us, it's really going to affect our ability to be objective, to look at what trees we have to cut down, okay? Because at one point in my life, the only way I used to I didn't respond, I reacted, because that was a neurological strategy that I had within myself, and if I felt threatened, I reacted. And when I reacted, it was a lot of times very destructive rage. But that was this neurological strategy I designed. And then until I started looking at how is this serving me, then looking beyond not only how is it serving me, but what is the results that is it creating, and are these results aligned with what I truly want to create? See, we all want to feel significant. We all want to feel loved. We all know, and then as we transform that and transcend it in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, our top level is transcendence, which is after we've transformed our pain into recognizing what it's done for us and transformed it and let it go, then we transcend by helping other people and accelerating their journey, because we've discovered some tools that has allowed us to let go and to become free and step into our greatest, fullest potential self. Okay? So the negativity will continue until we learn how it serves us. And we got to look at, so one of the things I used to do is I used to feel sorry for myself. I used to pout. I know you're seeing a grown adult man now, but I used to do that because it worked for me as a child, and it wasn't the attention that I wanted. I got in a lot more trouble when I did it, but it was attention. And see, your unconscious mind does not determine the difference, does not distinguish the difference between positive and negative. It doesn't filter things that way. That's your conscious mind's job, okay? So if we don't have the cognitive ability to distinguish what is positive and negative, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. I mean, I'm a huge Formula One fan, and they are constantly looking for that one thing that's going to give them that thousandth of a second advantage. They would never, ever put water in the fuel tank. But yet we do that all the time to ourselves. The food we eat, how we exercise, how we take care of our bodies, how we take care of our thought life, how we protect these stories that we have within ourselves. And then we put these masks on, and these masks hold us back from who we really are. And the more masks we put on, the more we're going to suffer inside. And then pharmaceutical comes along and says, hey, I got a pill that you can take that can make you feel better. Friends, that's a whole other video. It's a whole other conversation. The reason we are depressed is because we are suffering inside, and what causes our suffering inside of us is that our inner world is separated from our outer world. And the more we can close that gap and live into our true, authentic self, the more we will be liberated, the more we will be fulfilled, the more power we will step into and do what God has designed us to, or divine, whatever that means to you. You will be able to come from a place of abundance within yourself. You will be a conduit, because all the things around you, all the things within you that have filtered out your greatness has been removed. Has been removed, my friend. And imagine that. Imagine being in a place where That story that you tell yourself about your intelligence, that story you tell yourself about how you think other people see you, that story that you tell yourself about what you're capable of creating. Those are all stories that we were told when we were in development years. Okay? Those stories no longer are part of you unless you keep hanging on to them. See, the reason we keep hanging on to them is because it's familiar. And it's the familiar that keeps us stuck. See, and as you look around this behind me and look around the forest beyond beyond this clearing, there's trees out there. Lots and lots and lots of trees. Endless amounts of trees, right? But we had to cut these trees down because these are the trees that go up like, they go up really, really quick. And it gets real hot real quick and it burns down forests and that. So they had to come here and clear this out. We have to cut off the dead branches in order for us to give the energy to the parts of us that are meant to do greater things. So what in your life needs to be cut down? What conversations do you need to have with yourself, and do it as a mature adult, not a scolding parent? What conversation do you need to have with that child that's inside of you that is longing to come out? The most creative, powerful, precious, innocent part of you, right? The part of you that you built a wall around to protect because of the environment that you were raised in. Friends, I know what it means to live a life where you have to control it. I mean, you spent every waking moment thinking about how do I protect myself so I never get hurt again. Because if I get hurt one more time, I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle it. Friends, there's ways out. There's a way out from that. You don't have to live a life of seclusion. You don't have to live this life putting so much energy and resisting, stepping out and being vulnerable and stepping out and becoming who you are. The more you trust your ability to do inner work and look at what it is that's going on to you, the more you can trust that, the more you trust life, the more richness you can have. Because think about it, who can you really trust if you don't trust yourself? Who can you trust if you don't really trust yourself? So my friend, I've had this conversation with you because I was driving down the road. I've been doing a lot of content today. And I saw these trees. And I went, how many things in our lives do we need to cut down? How many things do we need to go, okay, this has served me. This part of me served me because it had the highest intention for me. This is parts. I mean, parts is me. First time I did a parts integration long time ago was when the whole journey when I was able to get off bipolar meds. But see, we have these parts of us. And we invest in those parts. But when we recognize that everything we've created in our life had a positive intention, and our unconscious designed it because it wanted to protect us, and its even higher calling is it wanted to serve us, then we start to understand that there are no good and bad parts of us. There's positive and negative. And in order to have a closed circuitry of energy, you have a positive and a negative side. The negative doesn't mean that it's got to go away. The negative serves us if we have the awareness to know what that means. So my friend, what needs to go? What needs to go? What lessons do you need to learn? And to look at it objectively and see how it serves you, then you can let that negativity go. Great way to do this is journaling. Prayer. Prayer is a great way to do this. Whatever that means to you. I mean, to me, prayer without ceasing is my life. Every thought that I think is part of my prayer life. Meditation, right? And to look at your environment, because your environment's giving you lots of feedback all the time. If you are paying attention to it. If you can rise above the shame and the guilt to go, this person is telling me information, but you have to have the ability for you to be able to trust that conversation that you're having with yourself. Because see, shame will put us into victimness, put us into victimhood, right? And then a whole other conversation about archetypes too. But don't let shame rule your life. That's not how you were designed. We have to have the negative in order to appreciate the positive. we have to have the struggle to appreciate when we step above that struggle. There's a polarity in life, my friend. And the more we appreciate that, this too shall pass. And that doesn't mean just negative stuff. It also means positive stuff. This too shall pass. There are seasons of life. There's a winter, there's a fall, there's a spring, there's a summer, right? And when having that awareness gives us the ability to understand that what we're going through is crafting us for what's ahead of us, right? You don't become a grandparent overnight, right? People don't wake up one day and say, I'm going to beat the hell out of my wife. People don't wake up one day and say, I'm going to become an alcoholic or I'm going to become homeless. It's incremental decisions that they make over their life, choices that they make over their life. Every choice we make has a consequence. So you can decide right now in this moment to say, I'm done, I've had enough, and go through your inner makeup and take out the dead branches. Take out the ones that don't serve you anymore. Let them die and let them go. And you can do that through journaling, through meditation, through education, through reading books. And the most important one that absolutely changed my life beyond my wildest dreams was hiring a coach. And right now, if that's something that interests you and you really want to accelerate the process, I've been doing this over 30 years, my friend. I can accelerate your life and business radically. And what runs your business is you. And the more you get in touch with that, the more you can run yourself and do self-mastery, the more you're going to be able to get on top of your business so that your business doesn't run you. Unfortunate things, a lot of entrepreneurs run themselves so they're absolutely depleted with energy. And then from there, they make very ineffective choices. Think about going to a grocery store hungry. When you're hungry, you're in a lower vibration and you make very ineffective, unhealthy choices when you're at the store. Same way with business and life. So if you're interested in accelerating your life and business, I'm looking for some one-on-one clients right now. I'm taking applications. I've opened it up. Don't know how long it'll be available. But if you're interested, go to callcoachjeff.com. Callcoachjeff.com. Fill out that application, and someone on my team will reach out to you. And regardless of the outcome, we will give you some strategies that will change your life, that will absolutely change your life, okay? So you owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself because this is the purpose of our life, is to let go of what doesn't serve us and to design strategies so that we can create our life and create a new road in our life. See, there's things that are going to pass us by, just like that truck just did. And if we don't have the awareness, it might pass us by and it might not ever be again. But see, you can set a new journey in your life. You can set a new path and cut down the things that don't serve you anymore. Let them go and design a road so that you can live the life that you desire to live, my friend. Till then, till next time, be blessed and live your life like your life depends on it, because it does. Have a good day. Be blessed.